13 News Now, breaking news now.
Ain't nowhere safe, I guess. Like, nowhere safe. Even on a college campus, nowhere is pretty much safe.
13 News Now at 6 starts with breaking news out of Virginia State University in Chesterfield County. I'm Madison Schlegel. Multiple people are hurt after shots were fired this morning on VSU's campus. We have team coverage tonight as the investigation into the shooting continues. Patrick Gray and Jeremiah Beatty are live in Chesterfield County tonight. They're working to find out what happened and also hearing from students and parents tonight. First, we go to Patrick Gray, who's outside of the campus with the latest. Patrick, what are you able to tell us so far?
Yeah, Madison, Chesterfield County police say just before 1:30 this morning, shots were fired just down the road from us here on Boisseau Street down in Virginia State University's campus. Now, campus police have asked us to stay behind this gate here, but it happened just a few hundred feet down from us. Virginia State University says it happened near their quad annexes. Now, police say 5 people were injured in that shooting, 4 of them suffering non-life-threatening injuries. Virginia State University has only confirmed that one of those injured was a student, saying that student has been released from the hospital. But we've been told just earlier today that one of them was in critical condition. Now, the campus went on lockdown shortly after that shooting and has since been let up at around 8:30 this morning. But as you can see, students have been allowed to continue to move into their dormitories here. You can see some of them going on behind me. But even so, these gates that you see here around us and many of them around campus have been on complete lockdown and closed throughout the day. And for some here, this may seem familiar. Almost 2 years ago to the day, 13 News Now was reporting on another shooting here on Virginia State University's campus. In that case, 4 people were shot in the same street. Tonight, investigators are once again working to figure out what led to gunfire on campus as students and families arrive for the fall semester. Right now, there's still no information about a suspect or what led up to the shooting, and Chesterfield County Police is leading the investigation and says if anybody has any information or evidence to please contact the police in Chesterfield. Patrick Gray, 13 News Now.
All right, thank you so much, Patrick. Parents and students at the dorms of Virginia State University are reacting to this morning's shooting on campus. Jeremiah Beatty hears from a student and a parent following the incident. She's live on campus right now, and Jeremiah, this shooting comes as those students are moving back in for the fall semester.
Hey there, Madison. Yes, the first day of classes starts on Monday. Unfortunately, this is the weekend many of them are returning from summer break, so many of them were here when gunfire rang out.
You just heard a lot of shots after shots after shots.
Michael Cooper is a Virginia State University senior. He was outside near one of the residence halls when he heard multiple gunshots. It happened off Boisseau Street near the quad annexes.
I've heard a gunshot before, but not as many. Like, you just knew someone got hit by the amount of shots that we heard.
Campus police say 5 people were shot, including one student who has since been released from the hospital.
Just seeing the people that were traumatized, you know, the people running, screaming, crying after that.
This is a critical weekend for VSU parents and students as they drop their students off for the fall semester.
You know, I just want my daughter to be safe.
Latrice Harrison, a VSU parent, says she drove from Norfolk and learned about the shooting from her daughter.
If we just went through a lockdown and, you know, from my understanding, a shooting was on the campus, then I truly felt that there should have been some type of, hey, let me get your identification, but that was not the case.
Harrison wants to know how school officials plan to stop future shootings.
I don't want to have to come back and it's some type of another shooting has occurred and, you know, I have to pull her out of the school.
As Michael heads back to class, he hopes the shooting doesn't weigh heavily on students.
I think people are starting to get back to normal. People are, you know, making their walk, still trying to move in, you know what I'm saying? Even people that are moving in, they're kind of skeptical and stuff like that, but I think we're heading in the right direction, it looks like.
As of now, the campus is back open. However, the one gate leading to student dorms remains closed. But the main concern I'm hearing from parents and students is how campus officials will address campus safety moving forward. Here in Chesterfield, Jeremiah Beatty, 13 News Now.
Tough words to hear there, Jeremiah. Thank you so much. Lawmakers across the Commonwealth are also speaking out about the shooting near Virginia State University's campus, starting with Governor Abigail Spanberger, who took to social media this afternoon. Governor Spanberger writes on X, Adam and I are praying for a quick recovery for those who were shot this morning at Virginia State University, and our thoughts are with the VSU community. Thank you to the first responders and law enforcement who responded to the scene. Lieutenant Governor Ghazala Hashmi also reacting tonight, saying she's horrified to hear about what happened. She calls the shooting a senseless act of violence and says her heart is with the families and loved ones of those injured. Congressman Rob Whitman also saying he's horrified of the news. He writes on X, no student should ever have to fear for their safety on a college campus, and I'm grateful for the swift response by law enforcement. Congressman Bobby Scott also posting to Facebook. Scott says he's monitoring the situation but is calling for action. In a statement, he says, quote, we have several policy proposals to reduce gun violence, many of which have been stonewalled. We must do everything we can to prevent tragedies like this from happening in the future. Virginia Speaker of the House Don Scott also thanked law enforcement for their response and says he's praying for those injured. And lawmaker reaction keeps coming in. We have an updated story on our website at 13newsnow.com with more on how lawmakers are addressing the situation. And you can stay on top of breaking news by downloading the 13 News Now app. You can see the latest developments for free.